All right. How's it going? So, thank you everybody for all of the questions. I'm gonna got my phone here, so I'm gonna read them, and we'll just go question by question. And I know some of them I might not be able to. I didn't prepare or anything like that. I read over a couple of them, but okay. So, let's see here. All right. I'd love to hear your top 10 desert. Okay, so D Jefferson 5669. Thank you for the question. I'd love to hear your top 10 desert island records in different categories like punk, metal, and other. The more you could elaborate, the better. Memories from the time of the release of the records, live shows, experiences, etc. Okay, that is going to be its own video. So I will do that. That sounds awesome. So, but, that's going to take some preparation. But I do want to do that. Great idea. Okay. Elusus Music. Stay safe and trust your instincts. You're doing a good, dude. My question, have you had any paranormal or supernatural experiences? Yes, I have. And it's quite a few. It's kind of weird to talk about them, honestly. It's a little bit haunting sometimes, depending on what it was. I mean, there's definitely strange things that I picked up on my camera, audio. I haven't picked up any video on my camera at like Fort Worden and Stillicum Lake, Wahop Lake, Stillicum Park. Those are the main places that I've picked up weird audio, for sure. Blockhead. So, let's see. Okay, he says, I'd like to see you talk about your first musical memories, first single, first album, first concert, first show you played, and also maybe a list of your top punk albums or top metal or classic rock and so on. Also, how you got into picking and reselling for a living, and also weird and odd synchronicities in your life. Ah, yes, that's a good hour. But I'll go. I definitely would like to do like a longer video on this. My first musical memories. So, musical memories meaning like when I was really young. We could say my first musical memories would be my dad playing the Irish Rovers and the Kingston Trio and John Denver. So I grew up on that stuff. But Dad also had these, like, a few, like, oldies rock compilations, though he didn't listen to them, but I remember finding them, and they had, like, Buddy Holly, and it had, like, the Everly Brothers, and some other stuff. I think that he had just had the tapes. Maybe they were Grandpa's or something. I don't know who exactly they were, but they were in a box in our house growing up. And I always thought that, like, there were some songs on there, like, I was initially like, just the rock and roll vibe, caught my ear. Okay, what record really put you into punk? Do you remember when or where you were when you first heard punk music? What's your favorite track off the Nirvana demo tape? So Bruce, my older brother, he's 4 years older. Anyway, he got a tape recording, I think it was, of Let Them Eat Jelly Beans. There was there was a guy in high school that made him a tape of Let Them Eat Jelly Beans, and that's a compilation of mostly California punk bands, but there's also, well, no, because there's definitely the Bad Brains were on there, so that's DC, and DOA is on there. I find that interesting now. It's like kind of like, well, what year, you know? So yeah, there is 40 years ago, right? That was definitely the first time we heard punk music, and I remember very specifically the Bad Brain song "Pay to Come" was like something about that beat. That was it. When I heard that beat, it's just like it almost like triggered something in my brain. Yeah, it's like I'm going to do that, and it's just a matter of like getting a drum set somehow, and you know. What's your favorite track off the Nirvana demo tape? So you mean the the first recording with Dale. I would say Pen Cap Chew or Paper Cuts. Well, Paper Cuts, of course. It's just like Pen Cap Chew is just, I mean, did you find any new cool abandoned places? I want you to come back on the radio show soon. I will message you. There was. I'm gonna post a video. It's a little abandoned place that's in Hoquiam, which is Hoquiam's next to Aberdeen. Anyway, there was a place that I found there that was abandoned, and I had to kind of sneak through the gate, but I got some really good video and photos. So yeah, I will go back on that show and talk about stuff. The question is, I'd like to hear about Subvert. I saw you guys a time or back in the day, and frankly, you kind of scared me. What are the other guys doing now? Any cool stories? You know, Subvert scared me too, but there's a lot of like stories related to the band. I'd be interested to know where you saw us play. I think that you know, I remember the aggressiveness and fights, and we were really like a peaceful band, so anytime there was a fight or something like that, the band would usually stop, and we, you know, try to break up the fight, calm things down, any way that we could. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot to talk about there for sure. You know, again, a lot of these could be their own separate videos. So, yeah, and I have talked a lot. Oh, it's pronounced Subvert. Yeah, he asked, is it pronounced Subvert or Subvert? Subvert, I'd say. All right. Okay, moving right along here. Have you any future musical projects that you are working on? Not with anybody else right now, and I'm kind of okay with that. I don't mind jamming with some people, and if something came together, you know, I almost had something going on, but it didn't really work out with a guitarist. It didn't work out because there wasn't a place to play, and I don't know. Actually, because of my feet, I have club foot, and playing drums aggressively for a little while, my feet really hurt the next day pretty bad. But anyway, yeah, I've been working on songs for another solo album. It's called Process of Illumination, and it's a slow process, but I have some songs. I think I have just about all the songs I want to put on it. I just have to kind of get it going. Okay. Max23945 asked me, how did you meet Kurt Cobain? it was at Community Rural Theater when they were playing as Skid Row. And I remember, like, just literally, like, listening, and the singer was absolutely blowing my mind. And the bass player was the roadie of the Melvins, Chris. But I didn't really know Chris. I had met him a few times because he roadied for the Melvins, and he played bass, or I think he played bass or guitar with them, and played like some Mentors covers one night at the Tropicana. Anyway, I'm listening and I'm like, oh my god, this is absolutely amazing. And I remember just like literally, like I could almost act it out, you know. I mean, it was kind of like this, like, you know, and just like sitting down in the nearest chair, just kind of listening, you know, because his voice was that amazing. I mean, I know maybe some people didn't think so when they first maybe saw Skid Row. I've heard like, oh, they didn't really, you know, they're just kind of, you know, they sounded pretty good, whatever, you know. I mean, I was like, wow. So after they got done playing, I approached Kurt and I asked him if they had any recordings, and I talked to him for a short. He was kind of like off, like walking off, and you know, but he talked to me for a minute, you know, at that first point. But there's also, I have this memory of Buzz introducing me to somebody at the Tropicana, would have been in 1984, and I swear it may have been Kurt. Very possibly Kurt. So, but you know, I can't. I just don't remember. It was just like, you know, I think it was a show, and he had just come to the show with Buzz to see the Melvins, and I think Noxious Fumes was playing that night too. Most of the time I was at the Tropicana, I was playing. Though, well, there's probably a couple other shows I was there that I wasn't. But anyway, yeah. All right. Ben JY2DO asked, when was the last time you spoke to Chris Novoselic? So they played in Tacoma at McMiniman's. I think I might have videotaped some of it and did a video, but I didn't talk to him that night. I actually had to take off, and I remember like waving to him, and he, you know, waved to me, and you know, the last time I talked to him, it would have been probably like, I think it was January of 2019. I'm pretty sure that would have been it. Okay, that one. Nikki Classic back something. Do you know of any demos of Come As You Are? I don't. Yeah. Ever consider leaving the Northwest gray weather? Oh, yes. So much. Every day. And it's not always gray, you know. I mean, really, it's like we just went through, you know, a few months of pretty consistently nice weather. It got pretty hot, but I mean, that's the thing about Western Washington. It can be really nice, you know, for a few months. So is that all of them? I think that's all of them. That's all of the questions. Yeah, there's areas I think as I get older, I lived in New Mexico, and I really love New Mexico. It's like renting here is pretty expensive. in you know, in Tacoma now. You know, sharing a place is workable. I don't know. There's a lot of options in the next few years. You know, I don't see myself staying in Tacoma a whole lot longer. But you know, I don't know. I love experiencing living in other cities. It's exciting and fun and just like, you know, a whole different, you know, Tacoma's kind of if you're from here, it's almost like there's ghosts around every corner, you know. Um, and that's why I mean, a lot of people, a lot of musicians, a lot of musicians have stayed in Tacoma, but a lot have left. I mean, no doubt about it. Um, I think that it definitely, you know, maybe it has like it's like ancient tribal, you know, tribal mysticism that's part of the earth and culture here that, you know, the creative heart in the Northwest doesn't even always know that it's here, you know, and it inspires us and influences us through being aware of it, but maybe it also is just part of the forces, the natural forces that make everything revolve and evolve, you know. And this is just it's just one of those. It's one of those sources, one of those places on Earth that you know, spawns a certain creative heart. I mean, you know, it's not everywhere, you know, that like decades and decades. I mean, you know, you can go back 60s, 50s. I mean, it's a really just historically very, very creative, but very like, you know, if you think of things like the Sonics, you know, and you think of like, I mean, it's interesting how that works. And we're not supposed to completely understand it, you know. I don't think we are. I think, you know, part of the beauty of life is understanding that there's a level that's unknown, you know. The only thing you can really know is what you experience. So that's really important, and still it's like you only know it through your experience, you know. Yeah, so that's, I can get off on conversations like that, and I will. All right, hope you guys are all doing good. I will come back for more videos shortly. See you later.